This is all the latest news and gossip.
I've had a lot of people saying a lot of things. I've heard a lot of people saying shit like, we need to be doing this. Or why are we focusing on this when we need to be doing that? Or no, we need to be, this is what we need to do. This is my theory. There are simultaneously a number of things that are in a priority place when it comes to real change happening. I will say that in my point of view, one, Trump getting out of office. Two, Biden being a better person to put in office. Three, actual legislation being put in place or people being put in place who are going to actually hold police officers accountable for being murderers. Four, white people, people who happen to be white, actually challenging their white counterparts on their behavior in a real, active way. What does active mean, Amanda? In a verbal way? In a inexplicable way? Is inexplicable? Am I using the right way? Inexplicable? Inexplicable means like without question, right? I'm going to Google it. Inexplicable. Unable to be explained or accounted for. That's not what I meant. What's the word I'm looking for? I want like a really explicit. Thank you. Thank you. In an explicit way. And 6, Black people looking inward into our community and finding unity amongst each other, even when we have differing methods on how to get to the same goal. Now, these are 6 different things that I personally believe all need to be at the top priority of our society right now. All 6 of these things are not necessarily passion points for everybody. Some people are like, we can't give a fuck about getting Trump out of office when we have these policemen who are shitty, or some people are like, why are you making a big deal about who Biden gets as a VP when we got to get Trump out of office? We need to get these white people doing what the fuck they need to do. We can't worry about us. We gotta make sure they stop killing us. All of these things are important, in my opinion, in equal ways. When all of these things are handled in a real priority way, there are things that happen because of them. When we, as Black people, look inward into our communities and start operating within that space, our education changes, our resources change, our love of self change, our communities change because we love ourselves. So when you love yourself, you don't want to live in shit and you don't want other people to feel like shit. So then that resonates outwards, right? When white people and people who happen to be white are dealing with each other, one, they're not bothering with us so fucking much. Hey, Junie. 2, the system works because it's propped up on the backs of silent people who happen to be white. Did you hear what I said? Racists aren't why the system works. The system functions because the people who benefit from the system don't do anything to disrupt the system. That's why it continues to function. So when we see like people being overtly racist, that's like, oh my God. And there's a lot of people who happen to be white who are like, oh my God. But they don't trouble themselves with speaking out about that or having conversations about that. Like, people are asking, why is my son the only rapper out there on the front lines in America? Here's another conversation. Stop looking at celebrities to be fucking activists. Stop. Please. Stop. They didn't get to the point of celebrity being an activist. So why do you think that they're going to all of a sudden be able to be an activist? You know what you have to have in your blood to be an activist? You got to be a real motherfucker. And a lot of these celebrities ain't real motherfuckers. They fake and phony motherfuckers. Y'all don't know that yet? They fake and phony. A lot of them play fake and phony on stage. They play fake and phony on TV. They play fake and phony in movies. You know how real you got to be to get out here and put your shit on the line? Like, because you could lose everything. So stop expecting celebrities to be real ones. I'm not saying don't be like, yo, be a real one. But stop being like, why aren't they being a real one? Because you don't got to be real to be a fucking star. Fame has nothing to do with realness. Rarely does it have anything to do with realness. Authenticity is unfortunately not a currency very well respected in Hollywood. Trust. So, just understand that. Like, because a lot of people, very much so, are very easily compromised. And that brings me back to the mediocre whites. So, you have a lot of folks who don't consider themselves racist, but they also don't consider themselves wanting to smoke. And the truth of the fact of the matter is that they're not going to disrupt their own comfortability to acknowledge someone else making other people uncomfortable. They're just not. And that is at a root of a very big part of the problem. That these mediocre whites be letting racism live because it's yucky, but like I had someone telling me today, like, it's been so much negativity. And I'm like, no, you're just at home. You're just not distracted. Like you have Amy Klobuchar who's trying to be the fucking VP nominee. Well, Amy Klobuchar in 2016, when Philando Castile was murdered in Minnesota, she was a senator and she said a statement like, we need to have reform. Well, it's 4 fucking years later, Klobes. And guess what? She made a statement today about George Floyd. And guess what she said in the statement? We need to have reform. No shit, Sherlock. Thank you, Captain Obvious. So that makes me look at her like, you were a senator. Before that, you were a prosecutor. So you could have had reform then you could have created reform then, and now you want to be a VP. Well, what the fuck reform are you going to do then? And I want y'all to listen to me. Like, I'm not a political analyst. I'm not an expert at politics. I am at the root of my core. I don't even know if I like the term activist. At the root of my core, I am an artist and advocate for all injustices being brought to light so that people can get the justice they deserve. And in particular, my passion is my people, Black folks. And I find my purpose to be to engage, encourage, and educate, enliven, entertain individuals who are going to be the next people in these front lines, in these different priority spaces, to fight in those spaces so that we can see change. It's not going to happen in my lifetime, but so that we can see change for these next kids. So, when I'm speaking, like, I need you to know that I am not speaking from a place of like, let me tell y'all what to do. And let me tell y'all, like, this is who you need to vote for. This is who you need to, like, I'm speaking from a space of like, I'm y'all. I am y'all. And when I look around, I have a visionary mind about the way things are and the way things could be. And when I speak to y'all, I'm speaking from me being like, this shit is not what it is. It's a multi-pronged approach. And the fact of the matter is that with all of those things that I listed, whether it be Black folks looking inward to our community, or white folks and people, or people who happen to be white holding white folks accountable, or cops actually having to be dealt with for murdering people who are unarmed, or Trump getting out of office, or Biden being a better fucking candidate, or I had a sixth one. I gotta watch my live back. I said us, them, Biden, Trump, police. What was my sixth one? I know y'all was listening. What was my sixth one? No, it wasn't the Black Woman VP. Anywho, I'll go back and look it up. At the end of the day, all of those things are priorities. All of them. All those things are priorities, and all of them require a multi-pronged approach. All of them require some people dealing with it from an academic standpoint, some people dealing it from an innovative standpoint, some people dealing with it from a forceful standpoint, some people dealing with it from an artistic standpoint. All of those things, you just got to figure out what works for you. Damn, I really can't remember what my sixth one was. Whites? Whites on whites. Blacks inward. Cops. Trump. Biden. Fuck. Anywho. Y'all wasn't listening because none of y'all could tell me what the sixth one was. None of y'all could tell me. Y'all ain't shit. Y'all ain't shit. Y'all like legislation? Legislation? Yes, I did say legislation, but I said legislation in response to the cops. I said unity amongst blacks. Y'all ain't shit. Damn. Damn. I was in it to win it. I had 6. I know I had 6. I had 6. No, I said unity. Anyways. All those things got to be dealt with. I'm mad at y'all, though. Because now I got to watch the beginning of this live to remember what the fucking 6th one was. And I'm mad that I didn't have it right now. Damn. Well, it wasn't legislation. You guys keep saying it was legislation. I already said look inward. But I can't remember. Regardless, those 5 right there, them 5 are essential. And someone said you had 6 fingers up, but I think you only stated 5. That is a possibility. That right there. Someone said, I remember thinking how she go from 4 to 6. Ah, fair. Nice. Now we're getting to the bottom of things. But I hope everybody's been trying to like keep their minds clear is not the word, intact this week. You know, I think there's so many ways in which you can be dismantled this week from your sanity and from your footing. And it definitely feels like, Mars, hi babes. It definitely feels like there's an unraveling that's happening around us. And then when you look at Minneapolis, like I had somebody come in my DMs today like, you know, I just feel like, you know, you're being racist against white people. I'm like, I swear to... You know, my nephews are POC, and you know, I just feel like you're being racist when you're really alienating people who have your back. Anybody who thinks I'm being racist does not have my back. This is a time where we start really realizing who is... I always say there's only 2 kinds of people. There's the real ones and the other ones. I've always said this. People are like, no, there's some people. No, there's real ones and other ones. There's a line being drawn in the sand, and you really start to realize it when you start to talk about what's going on right now and you see the discomfort of people. You see the unwillingness of people to really call shit what the fuck it is. You know? And let me just say something too. Black folks, like, we be doing some corny motherfucking shit. We really do. We be doing some corny shit in our inability to stand together, in our ability to know when to call folks out and call folks in. I have done a lot of work on myself to really learn the difference of when to do that and how to do that. And when it comes to black folks who are unquestionably black, I have learned, like, I'm not going to call you out unless you are wildly disrespecting me. And that's just me defending my fucking self. But the truth of the matter is, there's a level of ego that we be just riding that fucks with our whole community activism in so many ways. And it drives me crazy. It really does. Because motherfuckers really just be wanting to, I don't even know what they want. But we got to do better. We got to do better. Our black politicians got to do better. Our elders got to do better. You know, our elders have a history. Our elders have a history. There is a history of black elders not connecting with young minds and doing the whole, oh, you all don't know what you're talking about, so, you know, let us handle it. We have a history of that. Like, that is not new. That's from the New Negroes telling that to Langston Hughes and County Cullen and, you know, Romeo Bearden and Zora and all the folks in the Harlem Renaissance who were like, no, we're going to start talking about our black lives explicitly. You know, there were the old Negroes that were like, no, don't do that. You know, don't do that. That's going to make us not respectable. Fuck out of here. Now guess who's the legends? The New Negroes. Then, I mean, shit, you even had it with Booker T and Du Bois. You know, like Booker T and W.E.B. Du Bois. Booker T had a methodology and Du Bois had a different mindset. But at the end of the day, it's never been a bad thing. It's never turned out bad when black folks just decide to be unquestionably black. I'm a good example of that. Like, for what it's worth, my whole career changed when I was like, fuck this bullshit of trying to cross over. I'm just going to be as black as I want to be, and y'all going to either fuck with it or not. And when we keep on moving towards history, through history, you know, we have to really look at our history because the trends tell us. Like, look at our black leaders in the 60s in the civil rights movement. Like Martin Luther King and all those folks, they was doing the thing. But you know who was actually like at the groundswell of that? It was the youth. It was John Lewis. It was Diane Nash. It was the youth at Fisk, at universities. It was, you know, the Southern Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, Southern Nonviolent yes, SNCC, the Southern Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. Like, that's who started this shit. So we have to listen. We have to build bridges. We have to build bridges. And our elder politicians, they don't build no fucking bridges because they just trying to build a bigger house. They're trying to build a bigger house. I'm mad that when I said SNCC in my head, I didn't even see SNCC. You know what I saw? Saturday Night Nickelodeon, SNICK. That's why I was having trouble with the acronym, because I just kept seeing Saturday Night on Nickelodeon. Remember SNCC? I don't know. Charlemagne just sent me something he said he wanted me to watch. I want you to know that and when I say we, I'm talking about y'all on here, because I know that there's folks that don't fuck with me, and I don't care at this point. Well, not today, at least. You know, I'll probably care tomorrow because I'm a Cancer. We just got to find ways to stick together when we don't agree with each other. And that's going to come from learning conflict resolution. And that's going to come from having critical thinking skills. And that's going to come from healing. Because when you start healing, you're not triggered in the same way. And when you're not triggered in the same way, it makes you a lot more powerful. Because you are now the one controlling your energy as opposed to letting other things control your energy. And when you're able to do that, you're able to attain a higher level of conversation and a higher level of perspective. And you're able to meet people on a different vibration. You're able to meet people and say, like, I see why you say that, but this is why I feel this way. And if that person is not doing anything to fuck up your vibration, if that person is not doing anything to disrupt your healing, then you shouldn't have an issue with with their their you shouldn't have an issue with their disagreement. But like, I'm seeing the numbers dwindle the minute I start talking about this, and this is when the numbers are supposed to get higher. This is when the numbers, I'm seeing the live dwindle, 3,652, 3,647, because now it gets boring. This is when the numbers are supposed to get higher, because we got to figure out how to get higher. We got to figure out how to get higher while still being clear. I'm not saying don't smoke your bud, but imagine if you can figure out how to get to a higher vibration while still keeping a clear mind. Clear eyes, full hearts, can't lose. I saw someone on here say we can't heal. Speak for yourself. Speak for yourself. People say to me, like, Amanda, why do you clap back? I don't understand. A lot of times I clap back for two reasons. One, because I have an issue with people thinking that it's okay to degrade anybody without having to be met with challenge. You shouldn't be able to take out your sword at me without me taking out my sword at you. And trust me, I'm going to wield this sword much swifter than you. I be letting a lot of people off the hook because I really could verbally eviscerate them. But the other reason is because a lot of folks don't feel like they should stand up for themselves. A lot of people feel like, you know what, fuck it. Like, I just don't want to entertain that energy. And that's your prerogative. But there's a lot of folks who think that they're not maintaining that energy, but what they're doing is they're absorbing it. They're absorbing that foulness. They're absorbing that shade. They're not responding to it, but they're still receiving it. And I, a lot of times, respond for those people because they need to see, and they feel empowered to see somebody else saying what needs to be said without being worried about being impolite. Isn't that crazy how we get trained to be polite to people who have been impolite to us? We get trained to protect the feelings of those who are very, just very clumsy with our own feelings. Isn't that a doozy? Women, we get trained to do that all the goddamn time. But I just wanted to hop on live real quick because I got to stay up and I got to edit. We got SFP Society launching on Monday, and I've been editing these videos, these promo videos with Cousin Sassy and Topra, and I'm glad that I hired an editor for next week, but this week I'm the one doing all the goddamn editing. And it's kicking my ass. It is kicking my ass. But check on your strong friends. It's a reminder to check on your strong friends. Someone's got a Detroit phone number. My mom is doing fine. She's walking and she's talking. That's for damn fucking sure. I hope you guys are doing okay. Let's answer some questions before I go. How about that? No. Absolutely not. A fucking MAGA hat wearing cop murdered a man in front of them while his co-workers watched. Overreacting? Shit. I saw them looting a Target. I was like, they didn't burn the bitch down? People don't understand, like, if you are the voiceless, how do you get heard? These white people marched up to... Someone just said, what's up with the 96 Olympics poster? Magnificent Seven! Y'all better know that, and y'all don't know nothing about Lavinia Milosevic over there. My favorite gymnast of all time from Romania. Milo. Y'all don't know. But back to Minnesota and Minneapolis and the good folks of Minneapolis standing up for their rights. These white folks marched on these goddamn Capitol buildings armed to the hilt so they could get haircuts. And these cops let them spit in their faces and scream in their faces, all this shit. But when we take to the street, you know what, let me not say we because I'm not there. When my fellow black folks in Minneapolis take to the streets to basically say, y'all got us fucked up. They're being met with tear gas. Now, apparently, there were snipers on the building of the Minneapolis Police Department. Now they're sending the National Guard. It's none of this is difficult math to do. None of it. We know what it is. So are they overreacting? No. As I tell my nigga when he says calm down, no, you need to calm up. They're calming up. My non-white friend reached out to me asking how she can help. How can I verbalize what it takes to be an ally? An ally is about creating space. An ally is about holding space. An ally is about joining and strengthening the fight of others. This is not fudge. This is Dubliner cheese from Ireland. Someone said, how do you feel about segregation? The thing about segregation is that it's not, if you're not on your own land, you're still in their shit. As long as you're still in their shit, segregation is still, they're going to get the better end of the stick. So how do I feel about segregation? It's improbable as a means of elevation. Because I don't see how, at any rate, the only way that I see this world, this country getting better is if we do a South Africa and we rewrite our constitution. That's it. Because without that, we're just reforming. And you can't reform a building on a fucked up foundation. That's why they condemn them. The foundation's fucked up. We can't do anything with this property. The foundation of this country is fucked up. You can't do anything with this property. It literally was built on racism and patriarchy. So all we're doing right now is like painting. I remember when they had the Super Bowl in Detroit, and instead of actually renovating the buildings and fixing things, it was either Super Bowl or All-Star, but they had one of those major events in Detroit, and instead of actually fixing the buildings and actually putting energy and money into the city, what they did was they put up like facades on the buildings. So they put up literally like fake, like giant ass billboards on the buildings. That is what all these ratifications to the Constitution is. That's what all this fucking reform, etc. is. It's just putting up facades on some bullshit, because at the end of the day, beneath it, it's trash. You know, the Constitution is like a Kardashian body at this point. You're not even sure what part of it was there, what part of it they added, what part of it they moved from one place to another. You don't even know. What's the first step? Damn, I'm done with my cheese. Nope, there's more cheese. What's the first step of unifying as a people so we can get on one accord? I just really think it ends up being like from just deciding off top, like, I'm just not going to be mean. Honestly. It's just making that decision, like, I'm just not going to be a dick. And when you make that decision, like, it informs how you communicate your point to people. It changes how you receive other people's points. You know? And I think that's really just at the basic bottom line. It's like, I'm just not going to be mean. And, you know, the other part of that is literally being able to look at another black person and seeing yourself in there. That's that. And so many folks don't do that. Because they'll look at another black person and be like, oh, she got long hair, so we ain't the same. Or she's dark skinned, we ain't the same. Or, I don't know, he's a criminal, we ain't the same. And there are differences, of course, in all of us just as human beings. But on just like a basic bottom line, you got to be able to look at another black person and see yourself in them. That's how I feel. Are you open to organizing in real meetings with people with solutions? I'm not an organizer, so no. There are actual organizers who are gifted at doing that. That's not my role. And I don't supposed to be in that role. There are people who are gifted organizers. There are people who have gone to school for this. There are people who have worked from the ground up to do this. Those are the people that I want to support. Those are the people whose messaging, whose focus, whose directives I want to be able to flank. And it is not, I don't need to be an organizer. We have many organizers. We need people to be organized, and we need people to amplify the work that's being done. So no, I am not open to organizing in real meetings with people with solutions. I'm open to being a voice of those solutions and amplifying them out to the people who may not be knowing about them, and getting those folks on board with the organizers who need more folks. Someone asked, what's my favorite color? Pink. I'm afraid that your voice may impact your career. People are so offended when you make them uncomfortable. No. Because my career is not based on keeping people comfortable. My career is based on people being uncomfortable. Because my career has always been based on truth, and the truth makes people uncomfortable. So no. And at the end of the day, you know, my career isn't really based on like people liking me. No. My career is based on my work. So I've really made it my business to make sure that I'm doing good work. So that whether you like me or not, you probably gonna sneak and still like the work. Because it's good work. I do need y'all to stop thinking celebrities are gonna be fucking... Every celebrity ain't Harry Belafonte. Every celebrity ain't Dick Gregory. You may not be a movie star. I know that that's Kevin. That's not Barris Hammond. I don't know if that's a real fair... It would more so need to be like Barris Hammond versus... Who sings Broader Than Broadway? I'm broad. I'm broad. I'm broader than Broadway. Yes, I'm broad. I'm broad. I'm broader than Broadway. Wow, did I just forget Barrington Levy's name? I'm tired. Don't put that on a Jamaican blog and have them in my mentions again, please. I can't handle it. But I would like to see Buju against... Well, Buju against Beanie would have been murder. Murderation. Buju and Sizzla? Maybe. Maybe. You know what would be interesting? Buju and Sean Paul. And let me tell you why. Because Sean Paul is so like pop reggae. And Buju is so like raw reggae. So just seeing that combination, I feel like it would be interesting to see. Because they're opposites. But yeah, Sizzler versus Capleton, I can see that there. That makes sense. That makes sense. Okay, I'm going to answer a couple more questions. Yes, Ali, I'm serious. That's why the fuck I said it. Yes, I would like to see these two complete opposites against each other because they're complete opposites. Yes, and we're not going to sit here and act like Sean Paul doesn't have hits. Let's not do that. Okay. No, I didn't bring my cats with me to Florida. I'm screenshotting that for him. I'm cursing at you, Ollie. I'm going to answer two more questions. So a lot of these questions are really long, and for some reason, like, it doesn't show me the whole question. When people write a really long question, it will only show me like a couple sentences, and then I don't know what the full question is. They do this because people don't really know about Martin Luther King. They were taught this very they were taught about Martin Luther King as this like just very docile man who really just wanted everybody to get along. And they talk about Martin Luther King as if he didn't have any balls, as if he was just a very what's the word I'm looking for? I'm so tired. As if he was a very just non-offensive, safe, safe man. And that is who they have used as like our Black Jesus on how we should behave because he didn't ruffle feathers. Mind you, how many times was Martin Luther King arrested? Like, the fuck? And they treat his passive resistance as if it was him trying to... They treat the choice of passive resistance as if he couldn't be violent. That was a choice. And that choice was made, to my knowledge, that choice was made to demonstrate, the actual class of... I know, Mas, I said docile. The actual class of Black people, and that, like, we're not going to give you the opportunity to say that we're thugs or, to say that you shouldn't give us peace or shouldn't give us our rights. And that was what that was about. But at the end of the day, first of all, Martin Luther King used to have niggas go in the city before he got there and shake shit up so that when he got there, they'd be like, oh, a nice Negro. Thank you for finally getting here. There's always violence. When you're dealing with violent people, there's always going to be violence. That's the unfortunate truth. There's no... Because even if you're not the one inflicting the violence, they're still going to be inflicting it. But they always bring up Martin Luther King because they want us to remember him as some beacon of light on how we are to behave, because they consider him to be this very safe, docile black man that asked for his rights versus demanding them. That's essentially what they mean when they bring up Martin Luther King about things like riots. First of all, this is not a riot, it's an uprising. So let's call that. A riot is when white people in Boston are mad because the Patriots lost, or happy because the Patriots won, and tear up a whole fucking town. Okay? That's a riot. A riot is mayhem without cause. This, in Minneapolis, has a cause behind it. So whenever we are talking about like these types of things, people like to be very flippant with words, but these words are very important because they only apply certain words to certain groups. Okay? So Martin Luther King, for the record, wasn't no bitch. And they love to try and treat him like he was. They love to try and talk about Martin Luther King like he was a simp ass nigga. That's really what they try and do. And they bring him up because they're like, see, he was a simp ass nigga. You can be a simp ass nigga too, and you're going to get what you want. Well, newsflash, Martin Luther King didn't get what he wanted. Okay? Martin Luther King, if you watch King in the Wilderness, Martin Luther King passed away riddled with anxiety, frustration, and sadness and depression. He had fucking Hoover and COINTELPRO doing the ultimate bullshit and trying to sully his name and doing all of this shit that made him like look crazy to his constituency. Well, not constituency because he wasn't running for office, but look crazy to black folks. And he was sad as shit. And when he did the last speech that he did, I have seen the mountaintop, in Memphis, with the garbage union, he wasn't talking no like, please white people help us. He was really on some like, yo, shit gotta fucking, we gonna have to like move something. We gonna have to move something. Move something, move something, move something, move something. And yes, Ali Sadiq is right. Like in the end, Martin was like, I don't really know if this was really the best route. So, Martin Luther King is oftentimes people use him in a way that completely disrespects his memory and disparages his work because they paint him as a simp. And he was not. He wasn't the same as Malcolm. They had different trajectories. But I don't know if you've ever seen that interview that he did in a church. He's talking down to the interviewer, like in terms of positioning. And